The day is finally here, preparation completed and characters ready. It's time to board that ship or zeppelin and head off to Northrend once again. My name is Willie. Join me today as we check out a few ways you can get started in Warcraft Classic. Speaking of boarding ships or zeppelins, that's going to be the first thing that everybody does one of. In Wrath, there are two separate zones that you can begin questing on your journey to 80. First up, the Borean Tundra. For the Alliance, there is a new ship that docks on the far north of the also new Stormwind Harbour that will take you directly to Valiant's Keep. For the Horde, there will be a new Zeppelin tower just on the west of the entrance to Orgrimmar that will land you in Warsong Hold. The Tundra itself is a great start to the expansion with tons of quests, a new set of dungeons in Caldara, and plenty of introductions to new races such as the Taunka or the Tuskar. Your other choice to make would be to go to the Howling Fjord, way over on the opposite side of Northrend. To get there, Alliance have to take a ride from the northernmost dock in Menethil Harbour, whilst Horde take a Zeppelin from the westernmost tower outside of the Undercity. Howling Fjord is most known for its huge central building in Utgard, as well as an introduction to the Savage Vrykul. As for me, I'll definitely be going Howling Fjord. You just can't beat that boat ride in as a start to the expansion. Progressing through the levels, you'll eventually need to start thinking about flying. Certain zones, mainly the Storm Peaks, require it to really be able to get across the mountainous landscape. Cold weather flying is bought at Dalaran for a one-time cost of 1,000 gold, which might sound like a fairly hefty sum, but your questing journey is already going to be covering quite a good portion of that fee. If gold is still tight though, you're not stuck on the ability to progress content. Over in the Storm Peaks at K3 is Honest Max, who will straight up give you a free loaned mount, though it is only usable in Sholazar Basin, the Storm Peaks and Ice Crown. But hey, free mount, better than nothing. Also, if you're keen on leveling alts early on, the same NPC that teaches you cold weather flying also sells an account bound tome to teach that skill to alts at level 68 or above, so the questing will go even faster the second time around. As you are questing, you'll also be working on various reputations. At friendly with a number of Northrend factions, you'll be able to buy a tabard that will cause you to make advances with that reputation when in dungeons. You'll likely have reached friendly just by having quested a bit in each zone, but it's important to remember to pick up the tabard when you can. Each faction of course has its own number of rewards for professions, toys, mounts, enchants and so on. Similar to the Burning Crusade, Revered will be needed to buy various head enchants such as the Arcanum of Blissful Mending from the Wormrest Accord, or the Arcanum of Torment from the Knights of the Ebon Blade. The Sons of Hodia are where you will find the best shoulder enchants. This faction will be met when questing in the Storm Peaks, and you'll have to work your way up with them through dailies or from turning in Relics of Ulduar, which can be farmed in the Storm Peaks dungeons, but you're going to need a lot of them and you should expect them to be expensive early on. Each reputation has more rewards than we can go over here, so do check up on them to see what fits your playstyle best, but just know there's something to work on. Much like the Burning Crusade, Wrath the Lich King will also have heroic dungeons. 12 will be available at launch, with 4 more coming in later content patches. These will be your go-to activity to start building up your character at a level cap, not only awarding epic quality items, but also emblems of heroism that can be turned in at Dalaran for a variety of powerful items. Emblems are a good filler for those moments where the item you're after just isn't dropping, but you can always buy something from a vendor for certain eventually. You can also spend emblems on PvP gear too, or even heirlooms later on when you have more of them than you know what to do with. On top of the loot and emblems, heroic dungeons have a bunch of toys and mounts too for collection enthusiasts. A few of the more memorable ones are the Bronze Drake from the Culling of Stratholme. This is awarded as a guaranteed drop from an extra boss upon having completed a timed run, and I use the word timed very lightly here. It's a pretty generous timer, I'll say that much. Other more randomized items are the Blue Proto Drake, which drops from Skadi the Ruthless, the first boss in Utgard Pinnacle, or the Super Simian Sphere, which, okay, it can drop from just about anything in Northrend, but I'll always remember seeing one drop in the Nexus during original Wrath. And no, I didn't win it. As with any expansion, getting your professions up to speed will be worth considering early on, and for Wrath Classic, every profession gains unique benefits. Tailors can upgrade their cloaks with embroideries, jewel crafters have access to special gems which provide way more stats than normal, blacksmiths can add extra sockets to their gear, And engineers can, among other things, make their own mailbox, fire rockets out their hands, teleport across Northrend with a wormhole machine, get nitro boosts, and loads more. Engineering is rather good this expansion. Gathering will be super important early on too. All these other professions need those ore and herbs to come from somewhere, and doing laps of endgame zones is going to be some easy and reliable gold throughout the expansion, but this will be especially true at the start. Raiding content is one of the things I'm most looking forwards to getting stuck into. However, this time around there will be a little wait until they are open. Tier 7, including the Vault of Archivon, Sartharian's Lair, Eye of Eternity, and a revamped Naxxramas will be open on October 6th globally. That's a solid week and a half from launch, meaning there's less of that feeling that you need to rush and you might be missing a reset. And during that week and a half, there's already plenty to do at level cap. For PvPers, Wrath Classic will launch with a bunch of content to offer as well. Similar to raiding, there will be a grace period before Arena Season 5 begins, which will happen on the reset after launch, so October 4 for North America and 5th for Europe. Other features available on day 1 will be a new battleground in Strand of the Ancients, the battle for Wintergrasp, as well as open world PvP. For more information on everything that's changed in the world of PvP, check out the dedicated video in the description below. And finally, achievements are in the game, and for some people that will be the real end game. There are tons of them, but some of them may be a little more interesting to complete sooner rather than later. Higher learning has you go on a buck hunt around Dalaran, eventually rewarding a companion pet. And whilst Dalaran is going to be incredibly busy early on, I think most people will only be there for a short period of time before going back out to level, so it may be a good time to check some of the spawn locations before more people start thinking about doing it. The Lore Master of Northrend is actually super good for many reasons as well. Okay, it might not be the smallest task to get done right at the start, but it's going to give you so many benefits. Questing after level cap will be earning you bonus gold. You'll be getting reputation towards major factions, which you'll have wanted to do anyway. There's been an update made where certain Ender Zone quests will reward emblems of heroism, those will be good for when you're gearing, and there's a hidden bonus for Lore Masters too, specifically for tailors. You can talk to your trainer in Dalaran to learn how to craft the Death Chill Cloak, which before you hit up raiding content is the best option for many spellcaster DPS, and you could be the person on your server who has the ability to craft that early on. So whether you're planning on raids, arena, or just some gathering and professions, Wrath Classic has a ton to be checking out. We hope you enjoyed the video, subscribe for more Wrath Classic content, and welcome back to Northrend.